it, buddy.
I just put it on the spot so I know where I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So these things. About here.
Ah, you mark it.
Number 1, slow, 600 RPM. Turn it up to like 3. That angle. Right?
An
Not
angle,
like this,
yeah,
not
yeah.
flat. A little angle. Moving the buffer slow.
Yep.
So there's more revolutions
On
per
top of
square
that.
inch.
Yeah.
Right? So if you go fast, you're not going to cover every
You're not
little
gonna really hit
spot. So you can start here, flat.
Coated.
This is the working area, right?
Actually, yeah.
And we'll work. Slight angle. And this is the buffing area. Buff between. Yeah, this is where all the work's getting done.
Yeah.
This is the fluffy stuff that's coming out. So this is, you can kind of see that it's a little bit indented where we've sanded,
Yeah.
but it's
Still better.
It's better.
Yeah.
You know, without. Buffing over here like this, so this doesn't end up in the water.
Smart man. Yeah.
It's kind of, you gotta control that.
Starting at 1.
See, if you're just doing a large area,
Yeah.
I'm gonna move it up.
Okay.
Get that picture in here, video in here. See how I'm incorporating it into the pad, into the working area?
Yeah.
If you were to buff like this,
Yeah.
it would spray it all over the place, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
kicking
yeah,
everywhere.
It's kicking right up there.
Like this.
Yep.
Nice and slow. Getting a lot of revolutions per square inch. So now check this out. Pivot. We're to overlap. Whole section. I'm gonna move down a little bit. Moving about halfway down. Run this about 3 inch a second. 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so now see this pad?
Yep.
It's starting to get towards the end of its life, but you still got a little bit of useful life left in it. So there's a little strip down here I haven't done yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a little bit more just down here, and I'm just gonna run slow. See the direction of the rotation?
Yep.
I'm gonna go this way. If I were to start here,
You're
you would
picking
just
that up.
kick it all over the place.
Yeah, you're picking it up.
And this rubber rail, the heat is what will burn it. So I'm running slow.
Yeah. Jesus, that's fucking cleaning that thing so good.
Yeah, if it's not doing enough, use some more compound because this has got a kind of a lubricant in it. You just don't want to go too fast because it gets the temperature hot.
Yeah.
The temperature increases and then burns the rubber.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I'm gonna get this rubber. I'm not really touching the rub rail. I'm just getting this little crevice here. Okay, I'm gonna get this upper part here just a little bit. I'm gonna go over the whole panel again. Compound starts heavy, the finish is fine. So you got to get it to that point. Overlapping. See, at the end of every cycle, I pivot it.
Yeah.
Now it's buff clean.
Nothing right out. So that was almost like just a quarter size, really.
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot.
Not too much. The sealant protects them like a really microfine layer.
Yeah.
So you can just let it hang out for a minute.
So you said start capacitor.
So these are your start capacitors.
Yep.
These are your run capacitors
Yep.
for each compressor.
Yep.
And then these contact relays are going to be for your seawater pump, chilled water pump, and your relays.
Gotcha.
The circuit board here is what controls and turns each
Everything.
component on and off.
Gotcha. Perfect.
And then over here, these are your breakers.
Yep. Yeah.
So, and they're, of course, they should be labeled, but you've got,
Yeah, I think it's
there's 5 breakers, and in reality, this one, yeah, these are your chiller breakers here. So you're going to have a breaker for seawater, for chilled water, and for each
and then
compressor
for each
as well.
compressor, yeah.
And then one of them is going to be for the circuit board as well, to power the circuit board.
Gotcha.
Okay. Do this then, because then you can see it again. And
Yeah.
when you turn these off, it takes a few seconds for the capacitors to bleed down.
Yep.
Okay. So when you turn back on, if you turn everything, and of course, the air condition, this one right here,
Yep.
is going to power the chiller and the circuit board.
Mhm.
These two for the air handlers.
Yes.
So the INIT is a test. It goes out, it tests, do we have two-way communication? The 60H is your frequency.
Yeah.
All right, if it says 50H, it's going to be 50. And when you go, of course, if you push any of these buttons, nothing happens here.
Mhm.
So you've got your on-off button. This is your programming button, so this gives you different parameter sets, and there's different menu levels.
Okay.
Fan, and then temperature.
Temperature controls.
Okay. So when you turn it on, we can see we're in cooling mode. Okay. We want to always be in either cooling mode or heating mode, not auto mode. If we hit, of course, this is room temperature. It's adjusting to. Our set point is 72. Anytime if you're in any parameter, if you hit your on-off button, it's going to go back to the main menu.
Awesome.
Okay. Fan, so we're on blower speed 4. If you hit your fan button, you can change the speed, or you can change the speed.
Gotcha. Yeah, plus or minus.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Nino, that means it remembers the change that you made. So
Okay,
Nino
so-
is memory.
Okay. Memory.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
There's not enough segments to say memo, so
Yep.
it says Nino.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I cycled through one time and turned the compressor off, but then when it turned back on, it had it on, so it didn't. And now that you said it, didn't see Neo.
So if you want to see what's going on here, so first of all, this little LED in the lower right corner, that tells you you've got a compressor on if it's on steady. It looks like a decimal
Okay,
point.
yeah.
It's actually telling you the compressor's on. If it's flashing, it tells you the compressor's off and it's waiting to turn back on.
Okay.
So when you reach set point, that little LED is going to flash, and you
Flash.
probably will never notice it.
Nope. Never noticed
Okay.
it.
So here, we're in blower speed 3, so that's not a 6, it's a B.
Yep.
This is our chilled water temperature, and it's dropping, so we know we have the compressors running.
Compressor's running. Yeah.
Okay, this means
Yeah, it's
nothing.
blank.
Code. So now, if you want to get into a lower level of programming, you would go to the word code, push and hold until you get to the number 64.
Yep.
When you get to number 64, it allows you to go into the next parameter set. And if you go past it, just take your minus key and you can go down. So we're in cooling mode. FO1 is cooling. If we wanted to change that, so let's say we wanted to go into heating mode, we would go to FO2.
Okay.
FO3 is automatic mode. We don't ever want to be in automatic.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
So for you, you've also got FO4, which would be if you had a fuel operated heater included.
Gotcha.
FO5 also has to do with a fuel operated heater. So for you, FO1 or FO2 are where you're going to be.
Yeah.
On this system, if you make a change and you don't change your parameter set by hitting the wrench key, it won't remember it.
Yeah.
So we could leave it like this and it'll go off, it'll say Nino. When we go back in, it's still going to be at FO1. Okay?
Yeah,
so we're not going to change that anyway.
Yeah.
This is the voltage that's being seen at the chiller control card. So that U is battery voltage, 232 volts. 1C00 means compressor 1 is turned off in programming. 2C01, compressor 2 is on. So 00 is off, 01 is on. 3C01, so we've got compressors 2 and 3 on at the moment. And then there is no fourth compressor.
Yep.
Right. So this PA, this is the sequence in which the compressors are going to turn on, and it's set to automatic mode, which means it can automatically turn on compressor 3 first, compressor 2 first, or compressor 1 first, depending upon how long one or the other have been running. Okay, it will automatically cycle it in order to try to balance the amount of time each compressor is running, and also based upon the load, it's saying we want to cycle these things on and off an equal number of times.
Yes.
Is basically what it's telling you.
Gotcha.
Okay. So here, I have to go back to code because we let it wait long enough to.
It was funny that when talking to you on the phone, that was like my Achilles heel. I was like, man, I forgot I got to go to C64.
Yep.
Once I figured that out, I was like, perfect.
If you push it and hold it, it will go up. So it's just a little sensitive there. So we've got compressors, we've got our sequence of start. This L09, that is the time delay between compressors.
Okay.
So we have a 9-second time delay between compressor starts.
Okay.
This 1L00, this is a temperature offset for compressor starts. And typically, okay, so we have a ½ degree delta here, which means compressor 2 is going to turn off a ½ degree before compressor 3 turns off, or before our actual low temperature cutoff point.
Okay.
Compressor 3 is going to turn off 1 degree before our low temperature cutoff point.
Gotcha.
Okay, and that's okay. The way you have it set up right now, in reality, we'll have to see how it's programmed, but we could probably improve that. Compressor 4, there isn't one. This is dehumidification, okay, and if you're running air conditioning all the time, it doesn't matter. Okay. The only time you would typically use this is if you needed to be away from the boat for a period of time.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you're going to leave it in the water. You would change this. What I would do is change it to 3.
Yeah.
So that it cycles on and off 3 times a day,
Gotcha.
or in a 24-hour period, I should say.
Okay.
Okay. But most of the time, the best way to do that is turn your temperature up to 80 degrees and just let it cycle that way.
Yeah.
Okay. This is our time delay for when this controller actually times out and goes to sleep.
Gotcha.
So it will turn, even if it's on, it will turn the segments off.
Gotcha.
The S, this is a temperature sensor. So on this thing, there's a water temperature sensor. And the S1 indicates that it's looking for one temperature sensor. You can change this to S2, or, well, in this case, only S2. If it gets changed to S2, you're going to have a temperature, you're going to have a failure code, and the system's not going to turn on because it's looking for a sensor. It's not there, and it's not even capable of being there. So you also want to have this at S1. But a lot of times, what will happen is people will go through and just start pushing buttons, and they don't know what they're changing, and then the next thing you know, we're getting a call that says, "Hey, the system doesn't work." C2.9, this has to do with the software that's in the system. E14.4, this has to do with our evaporator temperature and our, it's called hysteresis, which is a delta. Okay. And it's a learned parameter set. Oh, that's my boss. I might need to call him back.
Back to blower 3.
So we didn't make any changes, but that's all your parameters.